What's up, guys? Tony here, and today is Saturday afternoon, and this is my second take of this because I was interrupted on my first take. So yeah. Anyways, so today's topic will be doing things that you may not want to do, or kind of like your hand feels like it's forced in there. But before I start talking about that, I want to talk about what I did today real quick. I went to the zoo, so there's hopefully I can remember put a video right there, right there. There was a monkey that was mooning me. That was the only video I recorded. So my wife took all the pictures with her phone and stuff, and whatever she recorded and stuff. But she's doing that all on Facebook. So we brought our kid to the zoo today, and he had his friend with him and stuff. So we just walked around, and a lot of walking. When I was a teenager, I hurt my knee pretty bad, and so doing all the stairs and the long walking, it kind of sucked, but it wasn't too bad on the drive home. You know, I didn't really have to bend my leg a lot. But anyways, so today's topic: doing things you don't want to do, or where it kind of feels like your hands being forced in that situation, is never. It's never positive for you. Obviously, it's positive for whoever it's benefiting at the time, which is kind of like how the economic classes work in the world today. You've got the guy up top, at the top of the pyramid. Those would be big businesses, the CEOs, presidents, dictators, people like that. Then you've got the people down here, and that's kind of like the people on welfare, the bottom feeders, things like that. The people that can't win for losing. And then you've got people like here, they're like the middle class. And the middle class can't get to the top tier, but it's very easy for them to fall down to the very bottom tier. The world is like a pyramid scheme when it comes to money, business, especially business, and various other things. Everything is kind of like a pyramid scheme. There's always that one guy up top. There's that one guy that gets the most. And then all the earnings trickle down as you go. I learned this years ago. I didn't really apply it, and then when I started working at home doing online marketing in 2012, it was very common. You know, it was almost mandatory that, because when you talk to people on the phone, they'd be like, "Oh, this is a pyramid scheme," or whatever, or pyramid scheme. They'd call them various different titles, but the entire world is a big pyramid scheme. Look at it like this. Let's say you work at Walmart, okay? Walmart has thousands upon thousands of Meijer stores in different countries, all over the United States, things like that. So you've got your CEOs up top. They're making millions and millions of dollars every year. You've got various levels of management. Then you've got your normal workers, stockers, cashiers, anti-theft people. They're on that bottom part of this pyramid. It all kind of makes a pyramid, kind of like the all-seeing eye, the Illuminati. But it's like a pyramid like this, and it just goes down. So you got the guys up top making the most amount of money, and as you come down, you got the people down here who just can't catch a break. They're making $8-9 an hour, something like that. Nothing against making $9 an hour. In some countries, $9 an hour is great. In the United States, though, our cost of living goes up all the time. Years ago, when I first started working, the first job I ever worked, I made $5.15 an hour. I know people that made less. Servers, in particular, waitresses, waiters, hostess and hostesses, they tend to make about $2.65 an hour, I think, and then they get tips. So, it's taxed. They say it's not taxable, that income between $2.65 and minimum wage, but it is. I worked in a couple of fast food places, like Steak and Shake. They would tax your tips. You would, at the end of your shift, you put in how much you made in tips, and they would tax it on your check. So sometimes you'd end up paying more in taxes. But a good example is, like I said, when I first started working, $5.15 an hour was the lowest wage that I can remember working for, where taxes were taken up. Now, obviously, I've worked other jobs where I made less when I was younger, obviously, but yeah, so $5.15 an hour. My second job was $8 an hour to start. started at $8 an hour, and I was like, holy crap! I was like, that's like $3 extra an hour, and that was amazing. It was super awesome. And I did that up until that business closed. I finished out at like $14 an hour there, so I definitely made a big increase in my income, an additional $6 an hour at that time. Gas was very fluctuant on the price. When I first got my license, I think gas prices were like $3 a gallon or somewhere in that area. And then it climbed up. We almost hit. I think we actually hit $5, a little over $5 a gallon, for almost the length of an entire summer. And I had a big old V8, so I was just sucking gas right through it. But the cost of living was so expensive, it didn't matter if you were making $8 an hour or $14 an hour. You just weren't making that much money. If you were making $14 an hour, it was still like you were only making $8 an hour because of the cost of fuel to get where you had to go. And at that time, there weren't a lot of local places hiring, so you had to drive, 30 minutes to your job, 25 minutes to your job, 20 minutes to your job, various things like that. So what I did was I really pushed to try to find something local. I found a local job, which was a job. It was my new old job, which now I'm not working there anymore. And then I got let go from there, and I started working from home, and I made all right money. But I started to realize at that point, a guy I was working with, he was always talking about how life is a pyramid scheme, how any company you work for is a pyramid scheme. And I would hear this all the time when I talked to prospects on the phone, people on the phone that were interested in doing it. They'd be like, is this a pyramid scheme? Is this a pyramid scam? Is this a pyramid scandal? And I'd be like, look at it like this. If you work at Walmart, you've got the CEO up top. He is making all the money. Okay, he's making millions of dollars every single year. And that kind of just trickles down to the very low level people that are making no money. Or, barely living wages. And when you work at home, you're responsible for all your taxes. Kind of like with YouTube. You're responsible for your taxes to pay in the correct amount, report how much you made, etc., etc., etc. And you can make really good money. And there's a lot of tax breaks I don't think people realize. But at the same time, it kind of goes hand in hand with the topic earlier, was being forced into things that you don't want to do because you have to do them, or it feels like your hand is kind of being forced into it. And a lot of that is from doing, the everyday job, the everyday grind. I'm not saying that I don't want to go back to work, because obviously I do. I need money. But that's kind of like my hand is being forced into it because I need money. I need to be able to pay my rent. I need to be able to pay Comcast. I need to be able to pay my cell phone bill. Got to be able to put food on the table. And unfortunately, that's the way of the world. Their hand is being forced to do something they don't want to do. And I think in a perfect world, those that want to work would work, and those that don't want to work wouldn't work. But a lot of people nowadays that don't want to work, they kind of take advantage of the handouts that have been given from the government, such as unemployment, food stamps, things like that. Insurance that you don't pay for, you get for free. I've always had to pay for my insurance, and I've lived in poverty, almost my entire adult life. When I was a kid, we were considered low middle class. My dad was and still is a tool and die maker, and he doesn't make as much as he used to make. But then again, our cost of living wasn't expensive. Our house payment at the time was like $400 a month, or $3 something a month. Now his house payment is almost double that, and he's almost 60 years old now, and it's just kind of inflation. The cost of living goes up. But when I was a kid, I wasn't spoiled. We had money, but my dad made sure to use that money for things that we needed, not just whatever. We weren't eligible for assistance from the government, from the state. And then after I turned 18, I was eligible for it because I was so broke. And the way that they kind of do those systems is they base it on your income, and if you have multiple incomes in your household, then you're not eligible. And I was eligible for a long time until I started working at home. When I that first month I reported my earnings, I had made like $6,500 in like a month, and we reported that, and then they said I owed all this money back to the government. They were like, well, there's no way you made this in 1 month. And I was like, no, I really did. I made it in 1 month. And so we had to go through this whole process, had to print out all these PayPal reports and all kinds of stuff saying how much money I had made. And they were like, how is this possible? And I was like, incentive marketing. I was like, I just talked people into signing up for some trial offers and stuff like that, and it worked out. Like I said, it worked for a while, and then because it wasn't just me doing it, there was thousands and thousands of other people, and millions of people were turned off because they thought it was a scam or like a pyramid scheme. So they would be like, "No, I'm not interested." And the market got really saturated, so I was like, "All right, I'm gonna have to go back to regular work." And then I went to the Sentinel, which was still 1099, so it was still self-employment. So I was kind of my own boss. Maybe that's why I liked that job. I didn't really have a boss per se breathing down my back, saying, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that." They were like, "Just deliver these newspapers before this time of the day." And I was like, "Okay," and I did it. Every day, 7 days a week. I The money fluctuated for me certain times. For 3 months or 6 months at a time, I'd go from having like my base checks there were about $800 every 2 weeks, so about $1,600 a month is how much I made delivering newspapers, and I worked, I don't know, probably 30 hours every week, maybe 25 to 30 hours every week. Sunday was the longest day. I'd make a good chunk of change, through the week though, or on payday. But then there was times where my smallest check, uh, in the summer of 2014, I was making $800 base pay doing my Sentinel routes. I was making $800 doing like a freebie kind of newspaper thing that we do on Friday nights. It was called the Flashes, and that paid every other week, just like the Sentinel did. So it was like every payday was $800 at least, and they had me subbing routes. So I was getting $50 a day to sub one route, 25 to sub another one, and 30 to sub another one. So my checks were, $2,400 for like 3 months straight. And what happened is I was living outside of my means. I should have, like, I knew that money wouldn't last forever. I was like, no, I won't continue to make this money forever. But I didn't listen to the voice inside. I saw money, and I was like, oh my god, I can buy this, I can buy that, I can buy this, I can buy that, I can go get a car loan, do this, do that, do this, do that. And so I did. And now I'm in debt. The cost of living. And I was my hand was forced. They gave me more money, and I was like, oh, I can buy more stuff. And so I did. I bought lots and lots of stuff. Bought all kinds of guitar gear, stuff I didn't need. I rented stuff I didn't need. And now I'm paying for it, because when you have no money, it's hard to make all those payments. So it's kind of like robbing Peter to pay Paul. And it happens. And that's an expression that I've heard my entire life, robbing Peter to pay Paul. But my buddy Mike actually uses that very often when it correlates to paying bills. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul, or you're trying to work something out with one company to work with another company. It happens a lot. And this is the longest vlog I've ever done. I'm already at 13 minutes. Holy crap. But yeah, so I guess my final thoughts on this would be, if you feel like your hand is being forced in a situation, don't let it. Find a way out. Do something you enjoy doing. You don't want to, let's say you work at McDonald's. If you don't want to work at McDonald's for the next 5 years, don't work there for the next 5 years. Don't just up and quit, okay? Go find another job. Find something you actually do. Maybe you're really into the arts, okay? You're really into painting, okay? There's not going to be a lot of money in it from the get-go, but you could turn that into a career. I don't know many people that want their career to be McDonald's or Walmart or Burger King or Taco Bell or whatever. Like the newspaper thing. I didn't want that to be my career. I don't want that to be my career. I like doing it. It was a fun job. But did I see myself doing it for the rest of my life? It was easy enough. It would equate to enough side money to be able to, and the work schedule was flexible enough to where I could go and truly enjoy my career. I've always had an interest in the IT field with computer technology, and so that's always been a dream of mine. The first operating system that I programmed was running off the Windows XP kernel, obviously, and we called it, I think me and my buddy called it Not Soft Doorways, but we knew we couldn't distribute it publicly because obviously we were infringing on patents and copyrights and all kinds of stuff. But we were like 13 years old. There wasn't YouTube yet. Okay, there was no YouTube, stuff like that. We were just little bedroom programmers, and it ran all right. But our main thing was we wanted to make sure that it could run on a really old x86 or 486. I'm sorry, and that was a challenge because it was challenging at that time. That was the early 2000s. Hardware was still in its. I mean, it was accelerating and it was growing, but it was still kind of in its infancy when it came to high-speed technology. And nowadays, we have tons of high-speed technology. But yeah, that's always been my dream is working in the computer field, and I would love to finish going through with that. But I would also love to be able to stay home every day and just make videos. I absolutely love making videos. If I didn't love making videos, I wouldn't have did my virtual wrestling show as long as I did it. And I did it from the fall of 2009 up until earlier this year in 2016, the end of winter. So, that's 6 years, yeah, something like that, 6 years, 7 years almost. And, that's quite a while. I enjoyed it. The challenge was fun, trying to make something compelling and interesting for people to watch. Getting to work with different people. I loved it. I really did. And so that's what I want to leave you guys with. If there's something that you love, obtain your dream. Don't settle for working at McDonald's for the next 5 years. Maybe you have to work there for another 2 years before you can get something going with your career of being in the arts or being in the computer field or being a YouTube celebrity, whatever it is that your dream is. Maybe you want to be a famous rock star. That was the dream for so many kids when I was growing up. Was I'm going to be a famous rock star. I'm going to tour the world, beautiful women, all kinds of stuff. That was the dream. As you get older, you realize that dream's not easy to get. We are in a very I don't want to say that artists nowadays don't have talent. A lot of it is studio talent. You can make anybody sound really good with auto-tune. It takes a special breed of musician to be able to still sound good without auto-tune behind your voice and without Pro Tools making you sound good. But yeah, so if you have a dream, don't give up on it. I've given up on a couple of dreams in my life, and I wish I wouldn't have. But it's just one of those things. Like it's those that if you ever have any regrets in your life, it's giving up on your dreams. That's just the way it is. And with me saying that, it makes me want to go back and re-get my dreams. I don't want to not live to my full potential. But all right, guys, so this is clearly the longest vlog I've ever done. I started rambling, but tell me, what are some of your dreams? What were some things maybe you wanted? Did you want to be a rock star? Did you want to be a performer? Did you always want to be a wrestler? Because when I was growing up, wrestling was cool for kids to watch. It was cool to go to school and talk about it. Nowadays, it's kind of, I guess, taboo or whatever. But yeah, guys, so I'm going to wrap this up. My voice is kind of dying. I want to get me something to drink, and I'm going to go eat me some lunch. But all right, guys, so I will catch you later. See ya.